Jam on toast!
Hey there, welcome to the Jam. I'm Cameron. Today the toast is to the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
I have
this was given to me by Mary Kate Wiles herself. She plays Lydia. The only one I actually own anymore. Or physical copies anyways. Everything else got bindered and everything. But this is going to be special to me because I went to Vidcon and the Pemberly digital Q&A and they had a little raffle, and I actually won the coolest gift out of the lot of them to me. This is the one I would have wanted, for sure. And I got it, and I got to get a little hug from Mary Kate Wiles, and she was really nice. And I got to meet so much of the other Pemberly digital family members. I was so happy to do that at VidCon. Hi guys, if you ever see this, thanks so much for doing what you do with this. And approved, and of course the Pemberly digital videos themselves. I don't know, maybe I just really like Gigi, or she's just cute, but I like what they did with Sandleton, Pemberly digital, and working with Domino, and she really made it good and easy to watch. So there is more past the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, but we're going to just talk about this today. So the short sell on this one is that a girl starts a web series for her graduate thesis where she kind of talks about her sisters and their love lives and her mother's and the culture's general obsession with marriage, and particularly how she doesn't jive with that. I should also note that this web series is a modernization of the book Pride and Prejudice. It's a big fat book like they made out of paper. Putting it into this web series definitely makes it more accessible. Modernizing a little bit helps make it more palatable. And the decision to make it into a web series as if it were a real web series, very Lonely Girl 15-ish, was genius in the adaptation because it's what made it feel real for the fans, especially for a lot of the younger audiences who don't even know that they made books. More importantly, what Pride and Prejudice is. So my love it for this one is the 3/4 shot. I'm going to try to demonstrate real quick. Hold on. I beg your pardon, Elizabeth. Am I interrupting you? Okay, I'm a shitty actor, but that's what it looks like. It's the first appearance of William Darcy. We see it several other times when people walk into frame, particularly when they don't know they're on camera, because most of the people in this kind of play up to the camera once they realize that there is one, that it's on, that it's recording, and that it's going to be for the internet. You kind of see these amp-up levels going on, particularly with Lydia, but we'll get back to that. My hate for this one is really like the concept of Pride and Prejudice, to the point where I agree with Lizzie Bennet, or Elizabeth Bennet in the book, that marriage is kind of a weird concept in that the woman's only goal is to be married is very outdated and just inefficient and stupid. When it comes down to it, I'm all for people pair bonding if they like that sort of thing. If that's what's for them, go for it. You don't need the legal document. If you get tax breaks and stuff from it and you want to go through with all that, great. But it shouldn't be the one and only goal of anyone, and it shouldn't be something that you do to bind a money or just a marriage of convenience of any sort. With that said, do what you do, and I hope you're both happy for it. The MVP for this one is, and no, I'm not kissing butts, Mary Kate Wiles. She just rules the frame in the first half of the series, and then as things get more serious with her and she starts to iron out to a more serious or wild, depending upon your look of what's going on, she kind of becomes the mental center of the story. It's about Lizzie, but Lydia plays such a pivotal role. Without that character there to drive certain aspects of the story, I'm pretty sure it would be a pretty big snore fest. Let's roll on to the categories.
Aesthetics.
When they modernized this, they wanted to make it look like a legitimate web series done by a girl in her room. I don't know who would really set their camera up with the door in the background like that, but it worked for what they wanted, because they wanted that interaction going in the background between the characters, and it showed exactly what was going on with Lizzie and Lydia in particular, and actually even Jane now that I think about it, because if you notice, Lizzie's room is here, and then Lydia's room is behind, so Lizzie's kind of overshadowing her younger sister until Lydia bursts out and runs out in front of the camera to take her spotlight, and Jane's always coming in, hopefully I'm doing this from the right direction, from stage left, and it shows that she is not as involved in their relationship, and she has plans down the hall, if you will, or down the road. It's very well placed. Everything is done with a lot of purpose. With that said, I actually don't like the way they do jump cuts and edit it to make it try to look real when, like, they pretty much could have just done that. They do throw some funny bits in there that I do like, where, like, not being pervy, Lizzie's bent over the camera and it's a close-up of her boobs, but you don't get a lot out of that. She's much prettier when she's got her face on camera, I'll say that. Where, like, she's drawing on Lizzie and stuff is hilarious. I really like the idea of an editor character, that being the way that they interact with the on-air talent. It's an aesthetic choice as well as storyline and character development, and I would love to see that happen, and I might even do it myself eventually. They definitely know how to lay out the set, they know how to make things important for how they're doing things, and for not moving the camera. I mean, hell, Kevin Smith probably didn't do as good a job. I don't know what that's saying for this, but I really liked it, minus a few small details. Aesthetics gets a 9.
Character development.
This is a long show full of character development. Every episode we're getting new information. Every episode new things are happening. It's not that anyone ever really gets stale. If they're stale, they're not on camera, which is just good writing when it comes down to it. And I don't know how much of that is the new direction, and I don't know how much of that is from Pride and Prejudice, but when it comes down to it, the responsibility lies on the new heads, and fantastic job. I really like how each character is being built. I love that we actually started splitting up into different channels. If I remember right, there's the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Charlotte ends up doing her own thing, and I definitely know that her little sister has her own channel, even though I think there's only a few videos for that. When you watch the DVDs, it shows everything in chronological order of what's happening, and not like you would on YouTube. It does take away a little bit from that, but showing everything in chronological order to me is always very important, and very important for character development, because they were smart. They actually address when characters don't know things that the audience would know, and it helps deliver the characters to you, and of course, what fantastic characters. There's not a single person in this that I don't like. There's some I like less than others, but everybody in this really did a fantastic job, and bravo. Character development gets a 90.
Storyline.
It's hard to stay on track because I love so much of this, and everything interweaves with each other. Like I said, in aesthetics, some of that carries over to these other things, and then the delivery of the actors, which I would normally put here, credits the character design more because they embodied the characters. They became the characters, and they just really did such a great job with it that, hell, even when I come here and I talk about the story, let's talk about what actually happened and not necessarily the characters. I think without such good character development, the story suffers, which is fine. Pride and Prejudice is a big old book that cuts dust because no one wants to read it. I'm not saying nobody, I'm saying it exaggeratively. I think modernizing it and adapting it to new things normally is something that people hate. But I think in this instance, this is one where it needed it. It needed a modern fix to make it more palatable for the audience. And they do a really good job. But in order for it to still be the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, you have to keep certain factors. It still has to be centered on marriage and relationships, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of a boring concept. Or maybe I'm desensitized. I watch too many things. With that said, nothing's bad about it. I don't want to feel like I'm complaining at all. It's just not the thing that's going to knock you off the feet about this. The delivery by the actors, the sets, the way they set up shots, it's edited together to show everything. What they don't show you, what they hide back, those are the things that make this, and the storyline kind of takes a back burner. Storyline gets an 85.
Compulsion.
That's how good this is I feel bad for anything that I say that's not just resounding praise. I know people get crazy about their fandoms, and I just don't get that way. This is something, though, that I would hand anybody and be like, you need to watch this, you're going to enjoy it, it's going to be a good time. The only thing that I can think of that would put anybody off is the YouTube-style format. But for people who watch YouTube, hell, it's going to be great. You do get a kind of weird disconnect watching the DVDs instead of the web videos, but you get a different experience with it. I would suggest you watch it both ways and tell me what's better, because you're going to enjoy this twice. I could seriously sit down and just let that run again. Compulsion gets a 94. Now, if you total all that up, you get an average of 89.75. Now, that barely misses the top tier must-see watch, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is a must-see. If you are familiar that Pride and Prejudice exists, watch this. If you don't know anything about Pride and Prejudice, watch this, because you have a clear conscience and you'll get a fresh experience. There may be two different experiences, but they're both going to be worth it, I promise you. For my wrap-up review, I've got to say this is not my most cogent review, and I apologize, but I'm just so excited about this. I got this as a gift from a weekend where I couldn't process all the wonderful things happening to me. I won a lottery to get the thing. I got to meet the stars and some of the Geek and Sundry vloggers who happened to be there in the audience. It's the same weekend I met Christina Horner and all the Job Hunter guys. I can't believe that all that to include this was part of my life. But to talk about the Lizzie Bennet Diaries one last time, thank you everyone who participated in this project. From the Vlog Brothers all the way to Mary Kate Wiles, being the one to hand me the prize and take that selfie thing. Just happy. Just happy. Go give it a watch. You can find it over the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and I'm sure you'll be able to find the other links and stuff. I will do my best to help you in the description and at the end of the video. But till then, I'm Camerai. Thank you, Pemberly Digital. We'll see you next time.
If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels.